Hello there, 110 subscriber Q&A. You ask the questions and I answer them. Do with this advice what you will. Maybe you agree and want to copy my framework, the framework with which I navigate through this crazy old life. Maybe you're going to pick and choose some bits of advice from what we talk about. You've asked me for help with some things, some guidance that you need in your own life. And it could be based on mindset, travel, dating, fitness, fears, philosophy, anything entirely. So let's get straight into it. A few new faces around here, lots of new questions. Hopefully yours is in here and hopefully you get the answer that you're looking for. Question number 1, how to get the confidence to do anything you want to do. I talk about confidence a lot because it's something that I suffered with growing up and something that I have in quite a large abundance right now in a very healthy way. And confidence comes from having the proof that you are the person that you want to be and the fact that you're getting closer to the version of yourself that you want to be, for me anyway. And so if you're not confident, you got to look at what you're lacking and then make small steps in order to improve over time. So you say about confidence to do anything you want to do. Maybe it's the confidence to go solo traveling for 6 months. A way you might deal with that is, okay, well, I'm going to go traveling with a friend for 2 weeks. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, I could do that. Now I'm going to go solo traveling for 2 weeks. And you're like, okay, I can do that. And then you build up and you build up. Or let's talk about mountaineering as well. You know, I climbed Mount Snowdon in Wales when I was 18 years old. That was a huge step for me. I'd never climbed a mountain before. It was an amazing accomplishment. Felt great, and it was outside my comfort zone. Fast forward a few years and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, been up 6,000 meters on peak in South America. And there were many steps between there and the summit of those other mountains. So yeah, you just got to keep improving over time, and then before you know it, you'll look back and you'll say, hey, I've got a lot of reason to be confident because I'm pretty good, I'm improving, and I'm going where I want to go. How don't you track your activity with a smartwatch or something? I don't need that data in my life, bro. I like old school watches. I need to know the time. I need to know where to be at any given time. I don't need to read my emails. I don't need to know what my heart rate is. I don't need to know what my sleep quality was or all those other things that it does. I already am intuitively completely in tune with all of those things, and I know how much sleep I need. I can wake up and tell with pretty good precision what my level of sleep is and level of recovery is. There's so much data in modern life, and some of it's important and useful, and some of it's just over analysis. And I think smartwatches cross over into that over analysis. What are your most important values and how do you align yourself with them? Now, I answered a couple of questions regarding values on the 100k Q&A, and I think I'll give you one. Kind of my main one is integrity and conviction. All the people in my circle know that if I say I'm going to do something, that I'm not just full of hot air and I'm going to go out there and do it. So whether that's making a promise in a romantic relationship or a friendly relationship or with family, I'm that guy that does what he says he's going to do. And I think that's an important value to uphold because lots of people say they'll do something or be somewhere and then they go back on their word. So keeping promises is pretty important. And that extends into loads of areas of life. Did the messed up sleep pattern on the boat have an impact on your mental health? No, actually. So I worked night shift for 45 years ago. I worked night shift for a year around 4 years ago, and that really significantly impacted my mental health. I was going to sleep at 8 a.m. and waking up at 4 p.m. because of the nature of my work, and then it really affected social life and everything else, trying to shift your circadian rhythm on the weekends, etc. On the row, because we were sleeping, if anyone doesn't know, we were sleeping in 3-hour blocks. So you'd row for 3 hours, you'd rest for 3 hours, you'd row for 3 hours, you'd rest for 3 hours. And we did that for 2 months, for 56 days as we crossed the Atlantic from New York to the UK. And what ends up happening is, if you're really tired, you're only ever 3 hours away from going to sleep again. So there's a bit of solace in the fact that, if you're really tired, just get through it and then you'll sleep if you need it. So you're always constantly topping up your sleep, and because you're constantly surrounded by friends, you're exercising, there's lots of, you're doing something in a survival situation. You don't have time for mental health concerns when you're trying to fight for your life. So all of those things meant that there were no implications, and I survived pretty well off 5.5 hours sleep. 6 hours sleep maximum really for 2 months. Whereas on land I need 8 hours pretty consistently. My anxiety manifests physically and it's hard to ignore. How do I get around this? Well, everyone's anxiety manifests physically. All emotional states will manifest physically to some extent, like whether that's in illness or jitters or health, whatever it looks like. So how do you get around this? You stop being anxious, and you stop being anxious by exercising and expanding your comfort zone. So if you're feeling like anxious or antsy, have you exercised that morning? Are you eating cleanly? Have you socialized? If you tick off those 3 boxes, then that's what tends to do it for me. Will you ever work for someone? Definitely not. I hated it. And that's why you don't see me doing, I'm not desperate for brand deals. I'll work with companies that I identify with and can have a positive impact by sharing what they do with you. So whether that's like the gym clothes that I wear, I'm currently wearing some really nice gym clothes and supporting a company in that regard. So I don't mind having collaborative relationships, but I don't like having to be told what to do by an employer. I have to be 9 till 5 at a desk doing a certain thing. It's just not the way that I want to live my life. Qualities you look for in a partner, girlfriend, wife. Discipline is probably number 1. I've referred to this in a previous Q&A as impulse control. Just because you want to do something in the short term, are you able to control yourself and do what's best for you in the long term? So if that's something like exercising, are you going to just sit on the sofa instead of exercising because sitting on the sofa is easy and exercising is hard? Are you going to cheat on your partner because you want that short-term dopamine fix and because you want something that's easy rather than limiting yourself for something that's difficult? Discipline branches into all aspects of life and is the thing that separates great people from bad and average people. That's a big one. Selflessness, I think, is pretty big as well. I think from what I've seen from the best relationships, you both have to be willing to give more to the other person than putting them above yourself. And if you've got both parties trying to give everything to that other person in a healthy way, you just end up lifting each other up rather than holding barriers and holding each other down. So yeah, just a teammate that's disciplined, I think is they're 2 big qualities. Yeah, I think, to be honest, they're quite broad areas, so I think that covers it quite nicely. Obviously there's other things, but they're the 2 biggest anchors, I would say. Do you get imposter syndrome, or do you just know you're the GOAT? Thanks, bro. Yeah, I am the GOAT, actually. Next question. Do I get imposter syndrome? I don't get imposter syndrome because either I feel like an imposter because I actually haven't got the evidence that I'm good at doing whatever this task is. But if I feel like I am where I deserve to be, and I've worked so hard to get to this point in my life in all capacities. So no, I don't feel like I don't deserve things because I've put in the groundwork and the effort to get to the point I want to be in. So thanks for the compliment. I don't really suffer from imposter syndrome. Is muscle memory a real thing? 100% it is. So if you take, there's loads of ways I could go with this question, but yes, muscle memory is a real thing. When I came off the row, I spent 2 months at sea and hadn't been to a gym for 2 months. I lost 30%, roughly 35% of my strength. And then I spent the next 6 weeks just slowly building it up, being consistent, eating in a calorie surplus and training hard and progressively overloading. And the amount of muscle and strength that I put on in that time was probably about 10 to 20 times the speed that I would have put that muscle on if I was building it for the first time. So yes, muscle memory definitely is a thing. Are you still skydiving? If not, then how come? I am still skydiving. I've not done it since April. And yeah, I don't always post about it because it's not the most compelling content. It doesn't tend to do that well on YouTube or Instagram. So I do it and I enjoy it, but I do get bored of it. So a couple of jumps every few months is enough for me. I'm in the UAE currently and I'm going to skydive soon here. But yeah, I'm not always going to do it. And also there's an element of risk. It's pretty safe, but you can get injured and things can go wrong. And doing that row across the Atlantic has changed my perspective a little bit on necessary and unnecessary risk. So I'll keep taking the necessary risks, but it's important not to always be wanting to chase that dragon, that fix of adrenaline. My ex started dating someone a few months ago and I don't know how I can get over her. That's pretty tough. Sorry to hear that. I blocked out your name here because I didn't want to out you like that. The bottom line is, mate, she's moved on to someone else. She doesn't love you. You've got to reconcile with that fact. She's not the person that you thought she was. You know, you can't go around like being desperate for someone that doesn't feel the same way about you. And the person that you loved is probably an illusion, and then it's not the reality of who they are and the nature of the relationship that you had. And you know, they don't care about you enough to want to be with you. So you just got to improve yourself, move on, and with time it gets easier. And obviously it's going to suck. So just, you know, you're allowed to feel bad. Don't go moping around about it all the time, but feel bad, sit in it, and do your thing. You know, go to the gym, work hard, improve yourself, and then when you're ready, meet the next one, and the next one will probably be way better, and you'll forget all about your ex. Where would you like to live when you have your own family with kids? I'm pretty easy in that regard. Wherever my wife's from, probably. I'm, you know, loads of places, as long as I have access to nature. Yeah, access to nature and a social circle. I'm not tied to any place, like whether it's in Europe, the UK, USA, or South Africa. Like, it's not something that I'm married to, if you pardon the pun. What would be a deal breaker for you, both in romantic relationships and friendships? Lack of willingness to improve oneself is a deal breaker in both. You know, the ability to drop your ego and become the best, chase the best version of yourself with conviction, because those types of friends can hold you back quite a lot, and then those relationships can be pretty difficult. And then lack of conviction and trust. So if someone says they're going to do something and then they do something else, that's a pretty big deal breaker, because I don't want to be, you know, I don't want someone to be my best mate and then say I'll meet you here, and then they're like, oh sorry, I've got to cancel, and then all of a sudden they're cancelling a lot and they're just not fulfilling on their word, or oh, I'm going to run a marathon next year, and then they don't do it. Like, obviously there's exceptions and tolerances, but you don't want to be friends or partnered with someone that says they're constantly going to do things and then they never fulfill on their word, because it's a dangerous place to be in, to have to trust someone and be there for someone that's not necessarily going to trust you and be there for you. Did you do any training on confined spaces prior to getting on the boat? So I did a row before the North Atlantic from the island of North Eleuthera to Miami in Florida. That was about 7 days of rowing, and it was 180 miles, I believe. And so I had some experience in the exact same boat in the coffin cabin, so I knew what it was like to be in that tiny cabin. So I knew what to expect, but I didn't do any excess training in advance for the Atlantic. To be honest with you, that was the hardest part of the challenge, was the fact that you were stuck in one place with other people. It wasn't the actual claustrophobia of being in the cabins, but it was the fact that you had no space, no personal space away from other people. I knew what to expect, didn't do any really extra training. The way that I prepared myself for it was just to be in a complete state of peace and tranquility building up to the row. So I had a really nice couple of months. I was just training, doing work, and enjoying myself, seeing friends, socializing, getting out into the world and in nature. And so that meant that I was, you know, really happy and content, and that meant that I was ready for war, rather than feeling like my battery was already depleted going into the row. I was like, you know, full of love, fully charged, like really happy. And then I was like, okay, well, that's a nice anchor to enter into a treacherous and difficult situation. So instead of like beating myself down in order to prepare, I was like, I just want to be in a really good place, and then I'll be willing to suffer, and I'll remember with a vivid emotion of what I'm suffering for and how beautiful life is. So that was the mentality I took into the row, and I think it worked very well. I'm very happy that I went in with that framework, and I'm going to continue to operate in that way of, like, if I'm going into something really difficult, I'll find a lot of peace and contentment in advance, and then I'll go and suffer, and then I'll come out the other side again. How do you train your discipline? Keep promises to yourself. Just start small and build up from there. So it can be really simple. I'm going to start eating breakfast every morning if you want to gain weight, for example, or I'm going to stop eating breakfast every morning if you want to lose weight. I am going to make my bed as soon as I get out of bed in the morning. I'm going to go to the gym twice a week. Start with like small promises to yourself. Like, even if it's, you know, go to the gym twice a week. Maybe you don't even have a program. Maybe you don't even have weight targets, or you don't even know what exercises you're going to do. just start small. Start by going there, doing that first thing, then do the next thing, then do the next thing. And then you build up this foundation of keeping promises that you make to yourself, and then that becomes your identity, and you just are then a disciplined person. Like, I don't have to think about being disciplined. It's my nature. Sometimes I'm ill-disciplined, you know, and everyone is. Like, you have to relax and take time off and like get things wrong, but like, you just keep increasing the bar. So if I'm disciplined 80% of the time, that's way better than being disciplined 20% of the time, for example. What would you do if when you, okay, so he said yes, would go? I would probably do it if I had to. I'd go as well, and I'd be okay with it. Anyone that isn't clear for, that was a joke question from them, and that was a joke answer from me. So you're not having a stroke, don't worry. I didn't just have a stroke, you didn't just have a stroke, they didn't have a stroke, everyone's okay. I'm Brazilian and got brokenhearted by a British guy. How to recover from this? We've already done a Heartbreak one on this. Sorry to hear that. We're not all bad guys. That wasn't like sadistic laugh. I'm not a bad guy. How to recover from it? Just work on yourself. Realize that the image that you built up of them is not the reality of the person that they were. Work on yourself in the meantime. Remember that it's normal that it feels really bad, and with time, when you've healed or started that healing process, it will get better and it will get easier. And remember that it's not you. You know, maybe there's things in your life that you can be better at and improve on, but you know, you just weren't a good fit. So don't be so hard on yourself. What is more to come in future now? So I did have a stroke reading that one. What is more to come in future now? What type of content should we expect? Garv, let me tell you, mate. So I'm in the UAE right now, and I'm focusing hard on my one-to-one coaching. So if you are interested in that, actually I haven't spoken about it in this video, I'm an online physique coach. You can click on the link in the description or the comment here, and you can apply to work with me one-to-one, and I will take everything out of your hands so that you can build muscle, lose fat, and get in the shape of your life as quickly as possible. And as efficiently as possible. So that is taking up a lot of my time currently, but there are big expeditions planned. So we're in October now. There's going to be like small adventures which you can follow along for on YouTube, of course, so stick around. And also there is going to be another big adventure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do something as big as the row, as exciting in the next 18 months or less. So yeah, expect another big and difficult challenge, because I'm not done yet. And in the meantime, little challenges, fitness advice, and we'll just keep learning and growing together. That is it. That's 110 subscriber Q&A. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I learned something. Hopefully we all learned something. I'll probably film another one. There's more questions and there's more subscribers. So see you on the next video. See you on the next adventure. There's going to be a fun vlog coming soon. And thank you for being here. Drop me a comment if you enjoyed it, and maybe ask me if I missed anything. If you want to ask me a little question, I might not answer it, but I'll do my best in the comments. And I'll see you very soon. Look after yourself.
Oh, you want me to say that?
You have to.
Oh, I have to. Like and subscribe.
No, say it with conviction and look.
Please like and subscribe. Adam Radcliffe at YouTube,
.com.
Instagram, Facebook.